В этом регионе есть много объектов, которые начинаются со слова.
In this region, there are many objects which are described with superlative adjectives. For example, Karakie, Kazakhstan's deepest depression, BN350, Kazakhstan's first fast atomic reactor, world's biggest uranium quarry, and first and only sea gates of the country. Hello, we're in western Kazakhstan, the Mangistau region. My name is Oleg Boldarev, and you're watching The Route to the Future.
Путь в будущее.
The Mangistau region is located to the east of the Caspian Sea on the Mangashlak Peninsula. In the north, it borders the Atarau and Aktobe regions, in the south, Turkmenistan, and the east, Uzbekistan. This region is called the Sea Gates of Kazakhstan. The length of the near border shoreline is 810 kilometers. The total area of the Mangistau region is 165,642 square kilometers. Its territory is 4 times the size of the Netherlands. However, for Kazakhstan scales, the area of the region is quite modest. Out of the 16 regions of the country, the Mangistau region is in 14th place in terms of size.
Тем не менее, объем регионального валового продукта на душу населения в день...
Nevertheless, the volume of the regional GDP per capita is 2,550,000 tenge, and in this respect, the region is in 4th place in the country. The Mangistau region reached such a high rank mainly due to its mineral reserves. In terms of their variety, potential resources, and accessibility, this region is practically unmatched in the world.
Мировой геологии.
Mangistau boasts deposit fields of metal, phosphate, and manganese ores, of sodium chloride, as well as of strategically important elements such as strontium and uranium, which are used in the atomic energy sector. However, the Mangashlak Peninsula appeared on the world map of raw materials more than a half a century ago, thanks to another resource.
В силу географии и истории нашей области.
Due to the history and geographic location of our region, the main sphere is oil extraction, and to this day the sector is considered to be an ore mining sector and contributes a 90% share to the gross domestic product of our region.
В структуре валового внутреннего продукта нашей области.
Today, 70 depositories of this black gold are being developed in the Mangistau region, from which every third barrel of Kazakhstan's oil is extracted. The biggest deposit field of the region is Ozen. Its reserves are evaluated at 1.1 billion tons.
Летопись нефтеносных месторождений Мангастау.
The history of oil deposit fields of the Mangistau region commences in the middle of last century. The first oil was pumped here 55 years ago. After 10 years, in 1965, the first batch of Ozen oil was delivered to the Atarau oil processing plant.
Поставлен на Атарауский нефтеперерабатывающий завод.
In 1970, the main oil pipe, Ozen Atarau Samara, was built. Its length is 1,380 kilometers. 550 kilometers of this oil pipe pass through the Mangistau region. Today, its throughput capacity is 30 million tons annually. Over the period of half a century, 426,771,000 tons of oil passed through this oil artery. This is 73% of total volume of oil extracted in the country. Today, the Ozen deposit field is managed by the enterprise Ozen Munay Gas, which is part of the national company Kazmunay Gas. Our company has a couple of thousands of exploitation wells, oil wells. This is 3,700 of the active well stock and 1,200 of the injection well stock. Thus, almost 5,000 wells. Extraction from these wells is conducted with the aid of automated pumping units and electric centrifugal pumps. New jerker pumps were introduced at this enterprise. They are based on Russian technologies, which allow to lower dynamic loads and energy expenditure during the pumping of oil. In 2013, at the base of the Ozen Munay Gas company, a plant was built for the diagnostics and repair of underground equipment.
Цехтың негізгі салынғандағы мақсаты ол скважиналардың жөндеу аралық кезеңін ұзарту.
The main aim of construction of this mini plant is to extend the operations through repairs. This substantially decreases material expenditures and lowers the environmental impact. From the moment that the subdivision began operating, Ozen Munay Gas saved 5 billion tenge on the diagnostics and repairs of underground equipment.
Іске асқаннан бері Ozen Munay Gas акционерлік қоғамындағы жер асты жабдықтарын сатып алудан өткен жылдың өзінде сол 5 миллиардтай теңгедей үнемдеді.
Despite the turbulence on the world oil market, Thanks to the optimization of its production, the work of ASEAN's oil workers is uninterrupted and makes a substantial contribution not only to the budget of its region, but the entire economy of Kazakhstan. Coming up next, the Caspian vector of the new Silk Way. In terms of competitiveness, the Mangistau region is in third place after Astana and Almaty. This is ensured by three important factors: mineral resources, transit potential, and interest from foreign investors. However, on their own, these factors cannot serve as a guarantee of competitiveness without taking into account potential risks, modern realities, and prospects. That is why the Mangistau region is placing bets on diversification. Within its framework, optimization of logistics and infrastructural development are becoming the new drivers of the regional economy. It is worth remembering that everything new is well forgotten old. Thousands of years ago, the Great Silk Way passed across the territory of the Mangistau region. Across the site, the shortest route from Khwarezm and Khiva to the Near East and Europe passed. Today, thanks to global projects in which transit, cargo transport, and international trade play an important role, new possibilities are opening up before the region. These possibilities are connected with the unique geography of the region. Thanks to its location, there are now opportunities to form multimodal transit routes. Today, seaports are involved in this process, and thanks to them, new export windows are opening up not only for Kazakhstan, but also for other countries. First and foremost, for China, the world's biggest market, especially if we take into account that Kazakhstan has a long border with China in the south and east.
1,783 kilometer border with China. It means that that Kazakhstan can pursue a multi-vector strategy, but Kazakhstan also becomes a transportation hub, a communication hub. We hear about the Silk Belt, Silk Road, but Kazakhstan truly can be seen as a bridge between China and Europe.
Today, a large share of container cargo, which is shipped from China, passes through the Mangistau region. A network of international railways passes through here: Trey-Seka, north-south, and east-west. The prospects of the only existing ferry line in the region, which will specialize exclusively in container transport, promise to give an additional impulse to the transport of cargo. Container transports by railway and sea are the alpha and omega of transit routes and international trade. This is considered to be the main argument in favor of Kazakhstan's new infrastructural projects. From 2011, container trains travel frequently across the territory of Kazakhstan from China to Europe and back. Their entrance is controlled by a strictly established schedule based on the gate-to-gate principle. This means that the problems of cargo transport today are being resolved on a qualitatively new level. Today, there are three main important issues of cargo transport: speed, cost, and security. And the measures that were taken are directed exactly at this, in order to improve our competitiveness, so that in the end the client ships the cargo in point A and picks it up in point B. The remaining problems are taken care of by the transport personnel, the transfer of the cargo, and establishment of one smooth chain of shipment. In 2015, the volume of cargo transport along the route east-west increased twofold, 50,000 20-foot equivalent units. According to the assessment of experts, by 2020, 300,000 20-foot equivalent units of cargo will be transported through here. These forecasts are connected with the realization of a new infrastructural project, which was initiated by Kazakhstan's neighboring country in the Caspian, Turkmenistan. The railway artery Ozen-Kazılkaya, Bereket, Etrek, Gorgan unites the railway networks of three pre-Caspian states: Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan, and Iran. The total length of the railway line is 934.5 kilometers. 130 kilometers of this distance pass through Kazakhstan's territory. The railway line Ozen-Bereket-Gorgan is one of the sections of the transit corridor north-south. The presidents of Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan, and Iran, during the presentation of this project, called this line the golden link of the regional and international transport infrastructure.
То есть мы сегодня
Today, we have actually created the new Silk Way that passes through our 3 countries. The railway line opens up the shortest path to world markets. On one side, this is the exit to the Near East. On the other, to the Baltic region and Europe. And the third route, through Kazakhstan and China. People need to be able to move freely between countries and to have easier access for their products to our markets. The potential of cargo transport along the Ozian-Berekat-Gorgan railway line, 10 million tons per year. Experts forecast that by 2020, the volume of shipments will increase by another 5 million. Today, this route is being used not only by Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan and Iran, but also by other countries. In July of last year, the Nomad Express train took off from China across Kazakhstan's territory in the direction of the Aktau seaport and then further on in the direction of Azerbaijan, particularly to Kishli, a station which is located in the vicinity of Baku. It took this train only 5 days to cover a distance of 3,500 kilometers to reach Azerbaijan's capital from China. Unified railway tariffs and technologies for organizing the cargo transport are implemented along this route. The coordinated system of the movement of trains facilitates the increase in the volume of shipments and increases the effectiveness of using this new transport route. Next in the program, the roads chosen by the Nurlu strategy. The multimodal transit corridor is the ultimate goal, but any big project is always comprised of a multitude of very diverse fragments. In the context of the region, there are 3 of them: the infrastructure of the seaports, enhancement of the potential of railway lines and container shipments, reconstruction and construction of regional and countrywide automobile roads. The road construction projects in the Mangistau region are being realized within the framework of the National Nurlu strategy. One of such projects is Center West. This route will join the capital of the country, Astana, with Kazakhstan's sea gates, the Aktau port. Within the framework of realization of this project, the Beineo-Aktau automobile road is being reconstructed and has a total length of 470 kilometers. With the use of the funds from the Republican budget, reconstruction of 100 kilometers of this road is being financed. The reconstruction of the remaining 370 kilometers is being realized with the use of loans given out by the Asia Development Bank. 200 kilometers are a road of a second technical category. It is divided into 2 sections, from the river Manashi to the Sayuties town, and from the passing loop number 10 to the Shitpe town. Modern construction technologies are being used for building these roads: stone mastic asphalt and a road surface with addition of doors in, a component which makes the road surface more durable. At the moment, works are being conducted along the Shitpe-Jetebay-Aktau section that spans for 170 kilometers. This is managed by the Turkish company Dengiz Inşaat. This road section is divided into 2 parts: Shitpe-Jetebay of a second technical category and Jetebay-Aktau. This will be a road of a first technical category. Aside from these road sections, the prospects of reconstructing other roads are also being considered: Jetebay-Janauzian and Beineo-Akjigit and the border with Uzbekistan. The first will be a regional highway and the second of Republican subordinates. Coming up next, back to the past and what treasures do the cliffs and waters of the region hide. Mangıshlak can be called a peninsula of treasures. This is not only due to its abundance in oil, but also because it has unique historical and geographic monuments and monuments of the ancient architecture of nomads. For the first time, the Mangıshlak Peninsula is mentioned in the notes of the Arab geographer Al-Istakri, who lived in the 9th century. He describes this locality as Siyah Kuh, or Black Mountain. The traveler wrote, "I do not know of any other place in this area that is inhabited aside from Siyah Kuh, where a tribe of Turks lives. They settled there recently because of a feud that arose with the Oghuz tribe." The heritage of that period includes 13,000 historical cultural objects, 249 archaeological monuments, 140 complex ensembles, and 60 ancient architectural structures. Mangistau is a unique region. Actually, as many people say, it is an open-air museum. It has a lot of historic places where one can just travel through freely.
По количеству
In Kazakhstan, in terms of the number and value of historical monuments that were created by the ancient nomads, this region is second to none. Mosques made of rock are the pearl of Mangistau. They were arduously carved out through manual labor.
чтобы создать такое уникальное...
In order to create such a unique structure, one must not only be strong in terms of physique, but also in spirit. These mosques, which were built in the Middle Ages on the territory of Mangistau, owe their appearance to the Sufi visionaries. Shakpakata was one of them. The history about him is full of surprising tales and legends. For example, it is believed that the wise man received the name Shakpak thanks to the strength of his weapon, which during the battles against enemies had sparks flying out, just like out of silicone. But there is a very practical explanation to this. In the nearby areas there are deposits of silicone. However, silicone is not the only treasure of this territory. Around there are cliffs, and some look like true masters worked on them. Who knows? Perhaps it was nature which inspired the Sufi Shakpakata to create, and he, competing with nature, created this beautiful structure, the mosque made of rock, and the material used in its construction was always available, shell rock and sandstone, which are quite easy to work with. The period of construction of the mosque, according to historians, is 9th through 11th century. The mosque has two entrances, the main western one, a ladder leads up to it, which was carved out of rock, and the additional eastern entrance. The interior of the mosque is spacious. Elements of an architectural order were used in the design of this mysterious space. In the corners, where the walls meet, massive columns were carved out, and between them, art coverings. The web of time has concealed many factors about the history of the structure, but from generation to generation, legends were passed on about how from distant lands, first by sea and then by foot, people arrived here.
Ал негізінде бұған мына теңіз арқылы шейхтар бар ғой, шейх. Олар да ілім үшін келген дейді. Ілім. За знанием они приезжали сюда, за знанием.
Back in those ancient times, Arab sheikhs arrived here by sea. They came to receive knowledge from Shakpakata. At that time, a tunnel led here from the shore, and people traveled for 7 to 8 kilometers across that tunnel.
Үшін келген адам. Дәм болсын, бұлай жай келген адамдар, олар өте алмайды екен. Ауа жетпейді, ол жоғарыдан жүреді екен. 7-8 километр осы Шақпақаттан жер асты мешіне дейін.
Architectural and cultural monuments are not the only heritage of the region. One can see very diverse landscapes, each of which is unique in its own way. The combination of history, geography, and prospects, which are promised by the creation of the new Silk Way, provide wonderful opportunities for the development of tourism.
Внутренний туризм, учитывая...
Domestic tourism, considering the current difficult situation and that it is harder to travel abroad for holidays because of the currency devaluations. That is why people are trying to organize their holidays within our country. The main natural site of the region, the Caspian Sea, may become the chief tourist attraction. And every year, the number of enthusiastic entrepreneurs who want the Caspian to shine in a new dimension rises. Yerzat Sagimbayev is planning to build a tourism center. For now, it exists only as a model. The most valuable aspect of this project is that it will not be built from scratch, but on the premises of an old child health and rehabilitation center.
Здание в 80-х годах построили. Мы как купили, так мы сохранили.
This building was built in the 80s. It has been preserved since it was bought. Of course, we conduct some ongoing repairs, at times reconstruction. The building is old and spiritually exhausted.
Здание устаревшее, конечно, морально устаревшее.
The entrepreneur is planning to give second wind to these old and quite unpresentable facilities and make them a place so that people would want to come for a holiday, not just from the region, but also from all over Kazakhstan. Within the framework of this project, he's planning to conduct a complete reconstruction of the children's camp to build an indoor aqua park and a golf field.
Здесь вот, видите, вагоны сделали для яхты там.
Here we have a hotel. Here, as you can see, we made lagoons. For the yachts over there, there's a pier. Here, sports facilities. Here, a rehabilitation center. And here we have radon water. We want to build a rehabilitation center for oil workers and guests.
Для гостей, скажем.
A developed infrastructure for tourism, transit logistics, and the transport system. This is how the region, which in the distant past was an embattled territory, sees its future. A desert without any vegetation, sand and stone. There is not even a tree here. This is how the Ukrainian poet Taras Shevchenko described Mangashlak in the mid-19th century. Today, only those sites of nature that have not been touched by human activity remind us of this. Because all the main roads here lead to completely different places. to places where there is great movement, where a new route is being built, where creative energies are floating. In one word, all the roads lead towards development. You're watching the program Route to the Future. Until next time, on Route, which opens up new possibilities for Kazakhstan.